Welcome back. Let's talk about Sir Lindsay Hoyle. He's the former, he's a Labour MP, but is required to be neutral because he's Mr. Speaker, Sir Lindsay Hoyle. I suppose the best thing you can say about him is he's better than his predecessor, the awful, loathsome John Bercow. People are saying he's very good at his job, very good. Sir Lindsay Hoyle's really. I don't think so. I don't think he's that good at all. I think he shows a definite prejudice towards his Labour mates. However, he's that job. Does it well enough. Order, be quiet, let the speaker say. Yeah, great, really good job. Well worth earning 200 grand a year for, or whatever it is you get paid. Anyway, the point is he sits in a seat and shouts order. Why then, over 2 years, has this guy, Mr. Speaker, billed taxpayers more than £250,000 for jetting around the globe in 2 years? Only recently, MP's expenses reveal that this guy, the Speaker, not a working MP or anything like that, splashed out on 17 foreign jaunts, making him the most well-travelled Commons Speaker ever. Why, you might ask, in July, did he jet off on a 5-day trip to the Cayman Islands and then put in a bill of £22,785, including £15,806 for non-economy flights, and no economy for him, VIP, £6,436 for accommodation, that means luxury hotels, £544 for meals and drinks. The reason for this trip, this jolly, frankly, was to visit the Hazard Management Unit and the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service Training Centre. Oh, I take it all back. It was a very vital trip, obviously. And always to meet his counterparts, the people running the Parliament in the Cayman Islands. I think that this guy should be stopped from all of these trips because there's a cost of living crisis. We have to pay this. We don't want any more burdens on our taxes. We don't want speakers spending £250,000 in a couple of years. Let's speak to the media campaigns manager at an organisation that keeps a close eye on this kind of, what I would say, waste of taxpayers' money. He's from the Taxpayers Alliance, William Yarwood. Welcome, William.
Good evening, Kev. Great to be on the show, and Merry Christmas.
And to you. I don't know if Lindsay Hoyle's planning another one of his foreign jet-setting trips over Christmas, but I wouldn't be surprised. What is this all about? Why is the Speaker spending more than £250,000 of our money going off on these jaunts to meet his counterparts in places like the Cayman Islands, St. Helena, and so on and so forth, South Africa? I mean, what's going on here, William?
Well, Lindsay Hoyle's very, very important. He has to go all around the world and shout order at people, surely, or maybe even get tips when he's meeting his counterparts on how to say order correctly and control unruly MPs, maybe. Yeah. But look, he's the Speaker of the House. He's not the Speaker of the world. He's not the Speaker of the Cayman Islands. He's not Speaker of any other country. He's not the Foreign Secretary. He's not the Prime Minister. He's not the Defence Secretary. He has no real reason to be spending this level of money on foreign trips, when in reality what he should be doing is doing what he does actually relatively well, which is be a Speaker in the House of Commons, control MPs, make sure ministers and backbenchers are able to get their questions through and actually answer them properly without being heckled too much. I don't quite understand why he's doing this. Maybe there's a level of ego involved with it, like there is with most people in politics and most politicians in the House of Commons, who believe that they're very important and they need to go abroad to show their face and do international stakeholder engagement or whatever nonsense they might say it might be. But frankly, he's the Speaker of the House. He should be in the House and not jet-setting around the world at taxpayers' expense, especially when many people across the UK are going to be feeling the pinch this winter with the tax burden, the winter fuel payment being cut, and a variety of other issues.
Yeah. So, as I just said, when he went to the Cayman Islands in July, it was over the turn of the month of July and August, 5-day trip. That cost us £22,785. And a 9-day visit previous to that to South Africa and St Helena. That cost £23,643. And last December, Sir Lindsay billed us £5,000 for a luxury trip, 4-day trip to Gibraltar, that including £2,000 for flights. By the way, you can get flights to Gibraltar for a lot less than £2,000, I'll tell you that. So he must have probably gone first class. And £2,700 for accommodation. I mean, these are jollies, aren't they? They're so he can go to nice places and enjoy himself. That's what's going on. And let's widen the remit here, William. This is going on all the time. MPs are always going off, funded by us, on these these fact-finding missions that are supposed to be very important. They're sort of fun. They're paid for holidays, aren't they?
Yeah, completely, Kevin. You mentioned the fact-finding elements. Well, last time I looked, I don't think most MPs in the House of Commons even know what a fact is. I mean, if they're going abroad to all these different countries to fact-find and find out how to run Britain correctly, you think a lot of those facts and those findings would have actually been implemented, and maybe the country would be run a little better. But no, they're just jollies. I mean, there's some really, really like scandalous, sleazy stories back in the early 2020s, in like 21 and 22, of MPs going abroad and visiting, ladies of the night and doing marathon drinking sessions and, basically living it up, all the while they're saying, oh, actually, no, this is really important international engagement. In reality, no, they're jollies. And quite frankly, they're caused by these all-party parliamentary groups, which is essentially, at this point, essentially they're just glorified travel agents for self-important, sanctimonious MPs who like to go abroad and make themselves feel better about themselves, despite the fact that most of them are actually pretty irrelevant and pretty incompetent. Quite frankly, the Parliamentary Standards Authority and other groups really need to crack down on APPGs and really crack down on foreign jollies abroad, because MPs, there's an argument to say that MPs should not be, glorified local councillors and they shouldn't be dealing with minute issues, and that's an argument to be had. But also, they shouldn't be, glorified like international people going around trying to like figure out how other countries work. Well, that's their argument, isn't it? Like I said, if they found out how other countries work, maybe they bring back some of those ideas with them. But I mean, most of them are probably on a bit of a hangover, so you can't really blame them for that one. They need to be completely not clamped down on. I mean, I frankly abolish a lot of the APPGs in Parliament. I think a lot of them are useless, and they're just there as busybody work for MPs, or indeed getting nice little foreign trips abroad. So yeah, it just encourages sleaze. It's a waste of taxpayers' cash, and once again, it just sends completely the wrong message. How can MPs sit in the House of Commons and talk about cost of living crisis and the tax burden, all the while they're jet setting off to nice countries, which many people in this country just can't afford to do because they're being taxed out of the wazoo? I'm
just going to quickly run through a few of these jollies. As you quite rightly say, William, they're always cross-party trips, so you have MPs of all denominations. So in 2020, a group of MPs travelled to Dubai for a trade conference. That cost us £200,000. Here's one from 2019. Cross-party MPs fly to Japan, £150,000 that cost. Davos Ski Summit, £60,000 for that MP's Alpine Adventure 2020. That was £75,000 for climate talks in Bahamas. The climate, of course, as you know, in the Bahamas is very, very nice. So I hope they enjoyed themselves. £40,000 to South Africa for a trade mission, and that was in 2020, and so on and so forth. And I'm just thinking, when old Sir Lindsay Hoyle goes to sort of consult with his opposite numbers, people who do his job. So do you think he goes to the Cayman Islands and says to the Speaker of the Cayman Islands House, so how is it that you say order, order? I say it like this: order, Order. How do you say it? I said order, order. You know what I mean? What? You don't need to consult with other speakers of the House to find out how they do the job. These are tax-funded holidays, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah, you're completely right, and you can sort of imagine Lindsay Hoyle doing that. Actually, you know, doing his usual voice, which I must say, Kev, fantastic impression. It's
wasn't that bad, was it? Came out of nowhere.
With me. I was about to have a go at him, but I realised it was you, Kev. But yeah, look, like I said earlier, a lot of this stuff just needs to be completely and utterly defunded. I mean, there's so much waste inside of the state, and also when MPs, you know, talk about how they're really dedicated to saving taxpayers' cash. Well, maybe a lot of them should look in the mirror, right, and recognise that actually they're not good value for money, and they're not a good use of taxpayers' cash. I mean, one thing that Lindsay Hoyle did say, or his office said when this story came out, is that value for money and taxpayers' concerns were always considered. Any time a politician says a line like that, you know it's a complete and utter lie. They don't care, because also a lot of them are sort of hoping that they don't get found out. They don't get found out, and they're hoping they're able to just push this under the rug, and that they can have their nice little follower and jollies to, whatever godforsaken place they decide to go next. Well, so yeah, MPs should be in the House of Commons. Obviously, secretaries of state and foreign ministers and things like that. That makes sense. They should be allowed to go abroad. But quite frankly, Speaker of the House shouldn't. Backbench MPs shouldn't. They should be delivering for their constituents, delivering for taxpayers. And quite frankly, when they do this kind of stuff, it proves they simply don't care.
To cut him some slack, I'm sure that the information that Sir Lindsay Hoyle picked up when he visited, very importantly, the Hazard Management Unit and the Royal Cayman Islands Police Services Training Centre was vital to Britain. That is value for money. This is a disgrace. It's got to stop. William, merry happy Christmas to you, and thank you very much for an excellent visit to my show. That's William Yarwood, Media Campaigns Manager at the Taxpayers Alliance.